Hello, I'm Greg.
I'm Meiko.
And we're at Brother Nature Farm in Corktown.
And I have a business called Guerilla Food, and we operate a food truck that's on the other side of Temple, that we do farm-to-table food there on Thursdays. Should we talk about what we're doing today?
Yeah, today we're gonna make kimchi.
We're gonna do a vegan version, so a lot of times kimchi has like shrimp paste or anchovies or like fish sauce in it for extra umami. We're gonna do a completely vegan version that doesn't have added sugar. We're gonna use like natural fruits to do the sugar part. And so today we're going to be making kimchi using all ingredients from Michigan and greens from the farm.
A lot of the salad mix that we grow sometimes gets away from us and it gets a little too big, which is great for kimchi.
Yeah, so you know, I think the most common type that people are familiar with is bechu kimchi, which is made with Napa cabbage, and it has like the big thick stem that grows along the cabbage. And so what's this called?
It's called baby Chinese cabbage, or Tokyo Bacana is the cultivar, which has a nice little crunchy base that you would want in kimchi.
Yeah, and you got like these nice leaves, and then we're also going to be using mustard greens. These are just like a regular mustard green.
That's a classic mustard, green mustard green, and then Mizuna.
Mizuna. So again, a very giant version of something that Greg and Olivia grow in their lovely salad mixes. And then we also have some green onions. The first step to making kimchi is to salt the greens to kind of wilt them a little bit. And we can do this a couple different ways. Like we have some salt. Let's put a few tablespoons into that jar. And then we're gonna put half this water. We're gonna make a brine. And actually that's gonna go in here. Okay. And sometimes you can like dry salt your vegetables. So if I'm doing this with like a really hearty vegetable, like daikon, radish, or Napa cabbage, I'll just throw, we can just break up some of these, because we're just trying to get these kind of soft and start getting some salt into them. Because the salt is what's going to ferment the cabbage and keep it from going bad, while the lactic acid on the vegetables does its magic over time. You want to like let this soak for about 2 hours. And so we're going to make sure that it's covered by some of that brine. And you can use a plate, or I brought a pot lid, and we're just going to put the pot lid on top to kind of let everything soak underneath the brine. And if you have access to warm water, you can do this with warm water so that the salt like dissolves quicker. So now we're gonna make the paste while this sits. So I'm gonna move this over to the side.
What do you want me to do? I
want you to cut them. So we probably need like 3 or 4 of those.
Okay.
And so we can either chop them with a knife, or you could do the scissors.
I just cut them.
And the other thing I like about, well, cooking in general, but also kimchi making, is like you can be as like neat and fastidious about it as you want, or you can be rough and tumble, and that's like my favorite way to cook. So because everything is going to ferment, and like everything that's in different size pieces is going to ferment differently over time, and so it just adds more textures and just kind of adds like different layers of what's going on. And yeah, I like to use all that stuff. You can also just make kimchi straight with only green onions, which is really good. We're going to add some more stuff to this. So we have garlic, like a couple tablespoons, and then ginger. I'm just gonna grate in. We're gonna make a paste with, while I do this, do you wanna make a paste with the gochugaru? So those are the chili flakes. Yeah, so let's do like a 1/4 cup of gochugaru in one of those jars. Okay. And then we'll just add enough water so that it can form a paste. Because what we're gonna do is mix that with like an onion and apple and pear mixture, and this is gonna be our sauce. Yeah, that's good. That's I think let's add more chili flakes. And I also brought the fresh chilies just so that we could look at them and taste them and talk about them for a second. Shane grew these, and I actually feel like we should just chop some of these up and put them in too,
okay.
Right? Because we don't, like you said, we don't have carrots, we don't have like any type of radish or anything that's really crunchy in this. So this will give it another like texture too. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Aren't those good? They're like kind of
sweet.
Fruity. Yeah. And then towards the end, like when you get the seeds in them, then they get a little bit hot. I'll just keep grating ginger. So we have the gochugaru chili flakes with some water. We've just made a paste. And now we're going to make the second half of the paste, which is onions and then sweetener. So a lot of times kimchi will have sugar in it, just like regular sugar. And instead of doing that, we're gonna add apples and pears. If you don't have both, you can just do one or the other. And this will give it sweetness, and this also gives it liquid, because anytime you're fermenting, you know, you want everything covered. So we don't want to have any air or like any of the vegetable exposed to air, because then it's gonna mess up with the process. So I already blended up some stuff in my kitchen. Basically, we're just taking half a pear, half an apple, half an onion, any kind of onion, blending it all up to form a paste, and it looks like this.
Okay.
Looks like applesauce. And I just keep the skin on because, you know, all that stuff is good. So let's go ahead and blend. Well, here, you can mix this stuff up. So let's add that to there. Yeah. The red stuff is so good. And then this is what the greens are looking like. So look, you can even see the salt on the side of the bowl. But look how much liquid already has like come out of these. All right, and then we can mix
that up.
Yeah, let's mix that up. So obviously these stem parts will always stay a little bit crunchy, and you want them to. The more the kimchi ages, the more these will kind of get soft. And then obviously these green parts are very wilty, and it hasn't been 2 hours. We're just gonna pretend that it has so that we can move on. So if you follow the recipe with the brine, then you don't need to rinse the greens. Obviously we just like threw it all together and didn't measure, because we didn't measure how much like greens mixture we had. And so usually what I'll do before I put whatever I'm fermenting into the kimchi mix, I'll like taste it to see how salty it is. So you want to taste a little bit. It should be fairly salty, but it shouldn't be like painfully salty.
That's nice.
Like it should taste kind of like the ocean water.
Yeah.
But if it's way salty, like it's burning, then you need to rinse your stuff. So I would say this is on the edge of needing to be rinsed, but we're just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna squeeze out.
Because you don't want your kimchi mixture to be overly runny.
Well, I also don't want to introduce too much more salt into. Mostly I'm doing this so that we're not introducing more extra salt. Okay. And so, if I was at home or like in a kitchen with water, I would probably give this like just a quick rinse. But I think it'll be all right. And what we can always do is, as it's fermenting, if it's very salty, add more vegetables and
you know, if it's too salty, in the past what we've done, we would take some of the kimchi and just rinse it a little bit if it was too strong. And
totally. So we're looking for, I'm gonna move this, we're just looking for a mixture that is like nicely coated in all the paste.
And does it help to like break it a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I mean, because the salt is already, you know, breaking down the greens a little bit, but we didn't salt the green onions. So what you're doing is helping to like soften the green onions a little bit. And then yeah, the more the sauce can get into all the nooks and crannies, the better. Because when we pack it into the jar, we really want to pack it down in there so that there's no like air bubbles. Cool. You want to taste it?
Sure.
Tastes pretty good already, doesn't it?
It's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit salty, and it's a little bit hot and peppery, but not too much. Talk a little bit about putting it in the jar and storing it and how.
Yep. So I brought gloves.
Okay.
Here, you want some? And if you have a funnel.
Like a canning funnel, it has a wide part that lowers into the jar.
Yeah.
And that makes it so easy.
Yeah, because then you don't spill everything over the side.
And it needs to be pressed into the jar.
That's good. Let's leave that there. And then we'll fill the other one up I'm gonna just wipe this edge first. Well, I guess we have a large jar, but we could just go ahead and put the rest in that big jar.
Yeah.
Normally you wouldn't want to leave that much space, but
it'll be gone soon.
It'll be gone soon. So yeah, this is looking pretty good. There's like a few little air pockets, so I'm just gonna keep pressing down, but I feel like it's a good amount of sauce and juice. And it's also gonna produce more. Like, I made kimchi the other day and I didn't have any filtered water, so I just made, I didn't add water to my chili peppers, and I did not have enough liquid, and I just put the weights on top and put it in the cooler, and within 2 days it was like completely submerged just from all the liquid that was coming out of the vegetables. So you can just, as long as it's cold, that was at 39 degrees in my fridge.
Yeah, and then sometimes if it's in your cellar or in your pantry for a while, you might notice a little bit of scum that collects on the top. But as long as it's fermented, it's still safe. You can just kind of rinse that part off or just scoop that part and discard it, and the stuff underneath it is fine. I mean, this has been a survival food for centuries, and so it is still healthy, and the stuff under it is fermented, and it's still pure and vibrant. The thing about getting healthy is local farms, I think, are the best source for something that's actually healthy, because if they're spraying or if they're not spraying. And we never spray. And then by fermenting the veg, you're getting like an extra layer of beneficials right there,
all
and
the nutrients
to fend off colds and everything else. So it's one of the best things that I can eat all winter.
Yeah, I mean, I just love how you can use any vegetable, and it's a way to have it, because especially with salad greens or greens in general, you cook them, or you eat fresh salad in the summertime, but then wintertime rolls around, and this is a great way to be oh yeah, remember when Greg had that giant pile of mustard greens growing out of the compost heap? Okay, so yeah, I guess two things. So the sauce is made with red chili flakes, which are these Korean chili peppers, which are not very spicy. Dried and ground up, and then we did onions, apple, pear. Did you taste the pear? Was it good? You could also just use one or the other, and then minced ginger and minced garlic, and we also added a few chopped chilies and some green onions to the mix. But the actual paste is just the onion, the chilies, a little bit of water, and then the fruit. Some fresh kimchi made with the extra ingredients in your kitchen garden. My name's Greg. And I'm Meiko. And this is, thanks for joining us for this cooking demo with Taste the Local Difference. All right, there we go.